price up out to the PlayStation Indies PSN sale. This is a huge sale with a ton of really cool indie games in it, and I've gone through it like normal and found a load of really good games that are on huge discounts for you. So if you like finding some cool new games to play and saving a lot of money along the way, then don't forget to subscribe. You're welcome here anytime. Now this sale ends on the 26th, so that'll be our last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have Art of Fighting Anthology. It was released in 2017, so it's 7 years old, although the games are much older than that really. And it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £2.39, which is a really good deal, as this bundle includes the Art of Fighting 1, 2, and 3, so you're getting 3 full retro games for one low price, which is really cool. Now these 3 classic arcade fighters all have a plot following the Sakazami family as they fight corrupted police. It also features alternate bonus soundtrack as well, so not only do you get the original soundtrack, you get a new one as well, which is pretty cool if you're a fan of the series. Now the Art of Fighting is a big fighting series. It's been around a long time, from way back in the Street Fighter days, and it's a really good one. It may not be well known amongst normies, but anyone that's into fighting is here to this series, and that's for good reason. It's a great series, and it's been around a long time. So if you're into retro fighters, or just fighting games in general, and you want to see where they came from, you're probably interested in this deal. So why not take a look at it? It's a lot of fun for some really old school gaming. And hey, if you've never played a fighter before, then you could start here. They may be a bit retro, so if that puts you off, then don't pick them up. But otherwise, you're getting 3 full games for a really cheap price. And they're from a legendary series way back in the day. So you can't go far wrong really. If you're interested, why not take a look? We have an action platformer next, Aztec Forgotten Gods. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal. But be careful because the PS4 and PS5 versions are separate, and you can't upgrade one to the other either, so make sure you pick up the correct version for the console that you want. In this game, to uncover the truth behind a far future metropolis, a young woman must battle the colossal forgotten gods, taking their powers from them and turning them against them to defeat them all. It features massive boss battles, an Aztec mythology and story as well. Now this game does have mixed reviews, but the reason I've included it is because it's pretty unique and different, and especially with the Aztec mythology included, it could be very interesting for people that are into this sort of thing. I don't think it'll find mainstream appeal, but hey, you're here for cool games that are unique and interesting, and this is definitely that. So if you're into action platformers, and you want something a bit different, or with a mythology you haven't seen in other games before, then why not take a look at this? It's very different and unique, and there's not a lot of games like it, so why not take a look if that sounds interesting to you? And hey, if you've never played an action platform before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. Like I said, it's got mixed reviews, but on top of that, you can get other series cheaper than this, and even AAA ones as well. So you're much better off starting with another game in this genre, and you'll have more fun with that for a better price. Blasphemous is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £4.99, which is a pretty good deal. In this game, a foul curse has fallen upon the land of Custodia, and only the penitent one, sole survivor of the Silent Sorrow Massacre, trapped in an endless cycle of death and rebirth, can defeat the monsters and titanic bosses to free the world. Now, this game was a pretty big deal when it came out. Well, for an indie game anyway. As far as action platformers go, it's got really good reviews, and everyone that played it really loved it. It's really highly recommended. Pretty much the only reason you might not enjoy this is the theming around the game, with the religion and the torture and blood and gore. It may just be something that you don't like or that you don't want to see in your games. But hey, if you're into gore and you don't mind religion being a main theme of the game, then why not take a look at this? If you love action platformers, it's a really good quality game. It's just the theme that puts off some people, which is a shame because it's a good game. So if you're as interested as I think you might be, why not take a look? It's a really cool game to check out. And hey, if you've never played an action platform before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here, not only because of the divisive theming, but also because you can get other games cheaper than this, and even big AAA ones as well, so you're much better off starting with a different game instead. We have a VR game next, Blind. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.99, which is a really cool deal. Now, this VR puzzle psychological thriller has move controller support, so if you've got them, you can use them, which is really great. And in this game you play as a young woman who wakes up blind in a strange room with no memories. Goaded by the sinister warden, you must use echolocation to explore a frightening mansion, solving puzzles along the way, hopefully to escape and find out what happened to your eyesight. Now I think this is a really good idea for a VR game. VR is really good for certain genres and certain themes, and this game's built around what VR is strong with. Having a world where it's mainly darkness and using echolocation to find out where to go or look what's in the room is brilliant. If you're into suspense or scary games, you'll probably really enjoy this. Horror really shines in VR, and this is the sort of gameplay mechanics that are designed specifically for VR and will really let the genre shine. So if you're a fan of scary games and you've got a PSVR one, definitely take a look at this game. At this price you can't go far wrong. And hey, if you've never played a VR psychological horror before, then you have a lot of games to choose from in this genre, but this is a really good one at a really good price. So you could start here, and you can't go far wrong really. It's a really good deal. So if you're interested in this genre and you've got a PSVR one, why not take a look at it? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. Oh look, another VR game next. Carly and the Reaper Man Escape from the Underworld. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.32, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good price, especially for a VR game. And this VR puzzle platformer has move controller support as well, which is really good. If you've got them, you can use them, and I think for this game, it'll make a big difference, so you should use them really. In this game, you get to control Carly and the Reaper Man as they visit the spirits of the underworld, and it features 2-player local co-op, with one person controlling Carly on the TV, while the other controls the Reaper Man in VR, which is really different and unique. You don't see a lot of multiplayer VR games around, and especially ones like this where one can play in VR and one can play out. It's nice to see more people use this sort of genre, as it's a cool way to play VR games. So if you're just looking for a cool VR puzzle platformer to play, or you're looking for something that you can play locally with a friend, kid or partner, then this is a really good game, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it if you've got those sorts of uses in mind. So hey, if you've got a PSVR one and you're interested in these sorts of games, this one has a little bit extra compared to other games, and it's really cheap. So if you like the sound of that, definitely check it out. It's a really cool deal. And hey, if you've never played a VR puzzle platformer before, then you definitely could start here. It's a really good deal, and it has a lot of extra features included, which you don't see in a lot of VR games. So it's a really good place to start, and you can't go far wrong really. Take a look if you're interested. We have a side-scrolling shooter next, Cotton Fantasy. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £8.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal, as these sorts of games are usually pretty pricey. In this game, after the willows start vanishing from fairyland, the Queen sends Silk to seek the help of the Cotton Witch, and now they must work together to save fairyland. It features 6 playable characters, new gameplay systems, and unlockables as well, as is nice to see because playing these sorts of games can get repetitive, so it's nice to have something to unlock and work towards while playing. Now these days you don't see a lot of side-scrolling shooters, and this is from a really long line of games as well. It's been around a while, and it's pretty popular, and that usually means quality, and I think this is the case here. It looks like a really good game from a really established franchise, and it's from a really unique and rare genre these days as well. So if you're a fan of this sort of genre and you've never played this series, then why not take a look? It's a really good game from a really unique series. Why not check it out? And hey, if you've never played a side-scrolling shooter before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here, because you can get other ones cheaper, although there's not a lot of options these days, and especially there's not a lot of new games in this genre, so it's pretty unique and rare. But hey, don't worry, I'll let you know when they're on sale next. And on a side note, Panorama Cotton is also on sale for 75% off at a price of £2.24. So if you're looking for a cheaper one from this series, or you're looking to pick up multiple games, or you just really like this genre and you want more of them, then you might want to check that out as well. Deliver Us the Moon is our next game. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this third-person adventure game, you get to experience a sci-fi thriller where Earth's natural resources are depleted, and after the lunar colony providing vital energy supplies for Earth goes silent, you are sent to investigate before the Earth dies and mankind becomes extinct. Now, I quite like adventure games, especially when they've got a cool and interesting story, and I really like the look of this one. It looks like a really cool and interesting game to me, and it's got really good reviews as well. So if you like your sci-fi games with story that are really interesting, then you might want to check this out. It looks really cool to me, and I want to get to the bottom of the mystery myself. So if you're interested as I am, why not take a look? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. And hey, if you've never played a third-person adventure game before, then I would recommend starting here. You can get other, more AAA franchises that are about the same price, but this looks like a really cool game with an interesting and intriguing story. So if you're interested, why not pick this one up? Up next, we have Doctor Who: The Edge of Time. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £2.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it for non-PS Plus users. So if you don't have PS Plus, this is a really good deal. Just be aware there's a PSVR 2 version available for PS5. You can upgrade to it because the game was published on PSVR 2 by a different company. So if you want that version, pick that one up instead, not this. But it's not on sale at the moment, so you'll have to wait for a future sale for that one. Now this game does have move controller support, so if you have them you can use them, which is great because games like this really benefit from having those sorts of controls. In this VR puzzle game, you get to team up with the Doctor to solve puzzles and save the universe from a mysterious new enemy, and you get to pilot the TARDIS and experience the world of Doctor Who like never before, meeting both iconic and new monsters in the adventure. And they make a big deal about getting to hang out with the 13th Doctor, but I didn't think there was a 13th Doctor. Anyway, if you're a fan of Doctor Who and you like VR, this looks like a really cool game. It's even got fan favourites like the Daleks and the Weeping Angels as well. So they knew what they were doing with this. They put all of the coolest, most popular stuff in it. Apart from, the fictional 13th Doctor. Don't know what they were thinking there. But anyway, if you're a fan of the series and you like VR, or you just like sci-fi, you'll probably really enjoy this. So why not check it out if you like the look of it? And hey, if you've never played a VR puzzle game before, then you could start here. It's a pretty decent game from a really big franchise, and it's really cheap as well. It's a really good deal. So if you're interested in sci-fi and you wanted to try this genre out, then why not take a look at this game? It might be your new favourite VR game that you've played in ages. We have an RTS game next, Frostpunk Complete Collection. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £5.54. Which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for such a cool game. And this collection even includes the Season Pass, with all 3 expansions, The Last Autumn, On the Edge, and The Rifts as well. So you're getting the complete version of the game, with everything included, which is really cool. That's a load of extra content. In this game you get to build the last city on Earth in a frozen wasteland, where heat means life, and every decision comes at a price. Only the right balance of survival and empathy will ensure the survival of the human race with the limited resources remaining. Now I'm a huge fan of RTS. Back in the day it used to be a massive popular genre that was everywhere, and these days it's on a bit of a comeback, which is good to see because some companies are making really good games, including this one. This is a really highly reviewed game series, and people seem to really love it. So if you're a fan of RTS, or any sort of management or strategy game in general, then you should definitely check this out. If you're into this genre, I think you'll love this game, so definitely take a look at it. And hey, if you've never played an RTS game before, then I would definitely recommend starting here. It's a really good game with a ton of content included at a really good price, so you can't really ask for much more really. If you've been interested in this genre, or you just want to try it out, definitely take a look at this. I think you'll have a lot of fun if you pick it up. Golem Gates is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal. This RTS is set in a post-apocalyptic world where Earth is ravaged by ancient wars and is now besieged by otherworldly forces pouring through the Golem Gates, and only the Harbinger can stand against them and protect Earth. It features 4-player local multiplayer, so if you like playing games with friends or at parties, and you all like this sort of genre, then you'll have a lot of fun with this. But there's no online play unfortunately, so you'll have to play in the same room. Now this is very different for this sort of genre. You don't see a lot of RTS that's multiplayer, and especially this game is pretty unique because it combines RTS with card building. So you combine your cards and use them on the battlefield to affect your units and how the game plays out. So if you're a fan of card collecting games and a fan of RTS, then you should definitely check this out. It's a very unique and different game, and I think if you like both of those genres, you'll really love this game. It may not be for everyone because it's so niche, but what it does really well, and the people that play it seem to love it. So if you're interested in either of those genres and want something a bit different, why not take a look? It's definitely unique, and I think you might really enjoy it. And hey, if you've never played an RTS game before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's pretty different compared to most of them, so it gives you a bit of a skewed view of the genre. So you're much better off starting with a different one instead. But don't worry, I'll let you know when there's more on sale, and then you won't miss out in the future. And the final game I have for you is my star buy, Moonlighter Complete Edition. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.89, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal, as this edition includes the Between the Dimensions expansions, with new dungeons and enemies included, which is really great. Again, the best version of the game, with all of the content included, which is really cool. In this action RPG, you get to play with an adventurous shopkeeper who travels through gates to other dimensions, fighting creatures and collecting treasure to sell at his shop. It features roguelike and RPG elements, with a beautiful art style as well. It looks really cool, and it plays as well as it looks, which is really good. This game's got really good reviews, and it was really popular when it came out, and you can tell why. It's a really cool looking game, with a new spin on the roguelike gameplay. It has some extra features that make it different and unique, which is really cool. So if you're a fan of roguelike games, then you might want to check this out. It's different and unique, and a really good game, so you can't ask for much more really. Like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money, I promise. And hey, if you've never played an action RPG before, then I would definitely recommend looking at this. It's a really good deal with a lot of extra content included. Pretty much the only thing that might put you off is that it's a roguelike. Not everyone likes those games, and if that's you, then stay away from this. But if not, definitely check it out. It's my star buy, and it's well worth looking at. And that's all the games I have for the PlayStation Indies PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments down below and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some cool games to play, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.